half you were really poor.
Yeah.
Why?
Not really poor, or they were really good. That didn't lead to a lot of chances, but they were dominating the game. They were better than us. We were having a lot of trouble to bring the ball out from the back. So we lost it too early, and then they started playing again. That didn't lead to chance after chance after chance. And even if you then look back at the goals, the first one was a cross from them, which we were in the right position. We were a little bit maybe unlucky with the deflection of Ibu. 2-0 set piece. And in the meantime, we've also conceded a penalty because the VAR overturned the decision from the referee.
Yeah. What did you make of that? I know it doesn't really matter because they didn't score it, but thoughts on that?
Yeah. In the moment, you try to make it as clear as possible. Is it obvious and clear that this is a wrong decision? The only thing I could also see was that there was contact. I cannot disagree on that. But after the contact, he was able to put his foot in exactly the position he wanted to put his foot into. So, these are moments sometimes VARs or sometimes referee give a penalty for this. So you cannot talk too long about that.
Do you feel overall, Arna, as you go into this international break, like a manager with a lot to fix? I know you had the 2 wins, but it's 7 defeats in 10. A lot to fix in terms of performance level, a lot to fix in terms of integrating fully some of the new signings who maybe don't still look like they're, fully part of this.
No, I don't know if that's the situation. It's been a very good start of the week with a very bad end of the week. But City away is, like you started this interview, for everyone a difficult game, including for us. Last season we were able to win here because we scored a set piece, going 1-0 up, and then we had to defend really hard afterwards. Today, I don't think, apart from that decision, and maybe it was ever going to be our game, you would never know what have happened after 1-1. But in general, they were the better team, and we need to improve. That's what we know, but I didn't need this game to know this. But I liked, if there's anything to like today, was our second half performance, because teams that sometimes struggle, teams that go 3-0 down over here, they gave up, but that's not what I saw. I saw a team that was trying to come back into the game. We had moments to do so, but it wasn't enough today. That's clear.
Lastly, managers will often say things like, you can't win the league in November, but you can lose it. 8 points back. Does it feel lost, or does it feel like there's still a lot to play for?
Now, last season when we were 8 points clear, it never felt as if it was done already. But I don't think at this moment of time, as a Liverpool manager, we should talk about the number 1 position. We should focus on our own performance. That needs to be better. But this week gave me a lot of positives to take into the games we're going to face after the international break. And it's clear that in moments of this you could focus only on the negatives, but there were a lot of positives in this week as well.
Thank you, Arna.
You're welcome.
Yeah, 8 points adrift of leaders Arsenal, and certainly a very different feeling to when they won here in February to go 11 points clear of Arsenal at the top of the table. But there is time still in this season, and maybe Arne Slot's got a point that we shouldn't just take this game in isolation when we make our assessment of Liverpool, because at the start of the week they beat Aston Villa and then beat Real Madrid, let's not forget. With that in mind, Roy, how would you assess Liverpool's title defence to this point?
No, I think it is crisis time for Liverpool. As I said, we know they can be beaten in Man City. We know it's a tough place to come, and Man City, the signs are Man City obviously getting back to their very best. But to lose 7 in 10 and 5 league losses already this season, it has to be a crisis for a club like Liverpool. I thought his assessment of the game today was spot on. I think it was very fair. Yeah, the decision could have gone against them, but overall, City looked stronger, technically better, and they looked really much better physically than Liverpool today. I thought Liverpool like a really weak team today. Still at moments, of course, they've got that quality. They'll still cause teams problems, but defensively, the goals are given away, the decision making. I go back to that word, lack of intensity, lack of energy. They're chopping and changing, bringing subs on, but it just looked looked really flat. And I know Gary mentioned it, the managers mentioned it, said he was pleased with the second half, but the game was over. The game is over. It's very easy to play when you're 2 or 3-0 down when the other teams take their foot off the gas. So they've got Forest after the international break. Obviously, Forest fighting for their lives. Yeah, to me,
They lost last season at Anfield as
well.
well.
Yeah. No, I think it is crisis for Liverpool.
Patrick raised the question of integration potentially being a problem for Liverpool right now. Do you get that feeling that he's not quite sure whether to stick or twist right now with some of these new signings?
I think last season they had a lot more consistency and his job was clearly easier. He was inheriting a squad, whereas I think this season they've, of course, made new signings, which some players have hit the ground running. I think Ekitike started extremely well, but the other players haven't quite got there yet.
And are we right to expect more, Daniel, when you think about the number of the value of that investment, over £400 million?
Well, look, it's an unforgiving league. You know, this league, I think the expectation is for players, just because the price tag's there, that they're supposed to come here and hit the ground running and be world-class footballers straight away. It's rare finds in the Premier League that happens, because the demands are high. The intensity of each team you're facing is clearly better than any league around the world. So I think some of the players are surprised at the intensity of the league, and Wirtz is one of them that's actually explained that in interviews. But when we're talking about the manager and talking about team that he has to select, I think he does need to stick with a team that he truly believes in and gives them 5 games. I think he did try that this week at least. But it's not working out at the moment, and I think that the cohesion and the chemistry the team had last season has clearly disappeared. It's not there anymore. It's not the same outfit that we're used to seeing. They've got to go back to the drawing board, clearly analyse all of the defeats, and I think even if we take the defeats out of it, and we go to the start of the season, those last-minute goals that were consistently happening, and you know, how long could that continue was the conversation. Well, we're now having a different conversation, which is they've lost 7 in 10. They've been completely miles off it, if we're being honest, in the sense of their standards. Their level is way higher than what they're performing at.
Have they got any chance of winning the league from this point, Micah?
I mean, I always said it's too early, but after today's performance, you would say no. But I had Liverpool favourites. And the problem has, with Ekitike coming in, who was supposed to be second choice, who's done really well, now you've got a problem with Isak. You've got Kirkes who's coming left back, who was supposed to be number 1. He's not hit the ground running, so now you've got Robertson. And then it's finding a place for Wirtz. Does really well against Real Madrid. And then today, can you back up that performance? It's not there. I disagree to a certain extent with Studge in terms of, if you get bought 100+ million, you should be ready to go. You should be, maybe not in the centre of the park for Liverpool, but out wide, and that's where his good performance. Today we didn't see Wirtz again. And that becomes a problem for the manager, because the players who were supposed to be backups to the number 1, they're just...
I think the bigger issues are at the back.
They're doing better
I think the goals they're giving away, I think going forward, not great today, obviously, but
Yeah.
the goals they're giving away, the full-backs are a huge problem. Goalkeeper needs to do better. Centre-half looks a nervous wreck.
Yeah, but that comes from consistency. Alisson is a big miss.
Of course.
For sure, just for the chemistry at the back. And then when you flip-flopping between Robertson and Kirkes, he's not working. Conor Bradley did so well against Real Madrid. Can he back it up again today? And I thought he was actually Liverpool's one of their better players.
When you're talking about Wirtz, what you saying exactly? Like
with Wirtz, I think that if you are bought for that amount of money, regardless of what league you're coming from, you should show more than what he's showing now. And I've protected him and backed him up until this point. But you get for that money to show up in big games.
You are. But
is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
It's fair to say that the expectation level of a player being, but you don't choose the price tag. You don't go, oh, by the way, I want to be bought for 100+ million quid. So that means now we're talking about analysing him and saying, what are you? You've come to this football club as a creative genius from Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso managed to get the best out of him. So far, this manager is firstly finding a position for him in his team, and secondly, the players trying to figure out the league. So you've got 2 different things. He's played number 10 in games. He's played on the left in games. We're clearly seeing that At this very moment in time, he's probably better off on the left. For me, the issue is that he's not shooting often, which is one thing that if you're playing in those higher areas on the football pitch, you have to be able to impact the game. I see a player who's someone who the ball goes through him. He's trying to create certain things, but he's not decisive. He's not, the last game, yes, we could argue he's putting chances forward for his teammates, but we do need to see more
There's a
from
good
him.
player there. He just has to get up to speed.
And he's got the age to develop, hasn't he?
Yeah. Let's give the kid a chance, but he is struggling physically with the demands.
So hard in his time in the Premier League. 1,000 games and this afternoon a 726th victory. But look at that record overall. 33 major trophies, 12 league titles. Could there be another one in the offing? Well, here he is with Patrick Davison.
Well, Pep, game 1,000, win 7-2-6. You looked as you walked around the pitch at the end there like a guy trying to savour every last moment. Did you really enjoy today?
A lot. They gave me a good present, the players, staff, backroom staff, with this performance and against the champions. Still, they are the champions, and they had to do a good performance. And they really defensively, and many good things happen. And the players perform in the highest level, all of them. My second half we dropped a little bit. Liverpool was better, but really pleased for everything.
Best part of that performance? What gave you control, particularly in that first half?
Defensively was really good, really good. Of course, the threat in behind from Mo and Tiki and special qualities Basolai and Wirtz, and we know how difficult is that. But I think we have incredible good energy with our people. Today I felt from the beginning the vibe for our fans was unbelievable, and they know Liverpool, how many battles, how many fights have been in the last decade. And playing at home and winning have been good for the international break, and after, Newcastle again, so many things going to happen.
Can you just tell us about your plan to press them? It looked like you were trying to sort of filter them into playing through Canate, and they had a lot of problems keeping the ball, particularly first half.
But in the second half they were more with the ball, and especially second half what happened for the 1 or 2 minutes. That is, in football you cannot control when you lose easy balls, and the second half is what happened. They were a little bit more aggressive, okay, but just for the first action, and. Always I set a concept with the players today. I talk about the duels. When you talk about the concept, win the duels always is a part of defensively. But what happens is win the duels when you have the ball, and you have the ball and pass the ball, and you keep the ball, and you are winning your duel with your opponent, and you are just focused on that. And when we are able to do it in the first half, it's good. When it happen in the second half, after that, the quality for the players up front, but defending deep, we defend really well, solid, and Gigi made the save, they should do it, and the fullbacks were unbelievable, outstanding, both of them, central midfield players, all three, Phil, Nico and Bernie, give us a lot of passes, a lot of control, and of course the threat for Jeremy today have been outstanding alongside Erling.
Yeah, I mean Jeremy Doku today, best performance in a City shirt from him? Dominating a big match like that?
You have to ask him.
I did.
And what did he say?
I can't remember. I wasn't sure.
He's one of the best, by foreign influence. So I think the right back corner is unbelievable, fast and quick. I saw the game against Vinicius, and I think we make a really good game.
Just before we come to Manchester City, we have to just reflect on Pep Guardiola. 1,000 games. I mean, that's an extraordinary achievement when you see the numbers as well.
The win percentage is just absolutely amazing. I know people have always argued over the years he's always worked with brilliant players, but you still have to manage them, look after their egos, the style of play they've got. Oh, I take my hat off to Pep. I think the man is absolutely amazing, and the stats, mind-boggling.
Trendsetter, isn't he? I mean, coming over to here, everyone was doubting him. Can he play that sort of way? When they won the league 4 years in a row, it was just mesmerising stuff.
Where is he now with this City team? Do they have it in them? Does he have it in him?
I think he has
to take them there again.
He's definitely got it in him. I'm looking for consistency with Man City now. We talked about it before, a little bit before the game, in terms of the way they're letting other teams dictate to them and possession. They're not dominating games anymore. I think they've got enough, especially with the way Haaland's playing. But Arsenal are also a good side. I think it's between now and Man City.
I think like City have snuck up there, haven't they? Like been under that radar a little bit, haven't they? Until today, really.
I think that was more because of the squad of Liverpool. When they announced Kirkes and Isak and all the rest of them, Wirtz, everyone just automatically thought it was going to be Liverpool, but City just doing their business.
How
quietly.
seriously should we be taking them, Daniel, in terms of title challenges?
If we're not taking them serious now, and when are we going to? I mean, after today's performance, Haaland's start to the season's been, whatever superlatives you want to say, it's just absolutely ridiculous what he's doing. So all in all, if you look at them, you go, you've got all the tools, a fit Rodri coming back whenever he's ready.
Goalkeeper was a big sign, wasn't it? Goalkeeper coming.
Donnarumma's been there and done it since a young age. Won the Champions League last year, comes here with experience and, communicating, building a bond with the defender. So all in all, I think they're heading in a fantastic direction. And you could see on Pep's face, got that nice little grin. You can see he's happy. He's not trying to get too confident, but deep down he's thinking, you know what? Having a look at us today, they probably surprised him how well they played, to be honest.
And for all those achievements, Roy, that we showed on that graphic before, the 12 league titles so far, if they were to say this season with Manchester City, where would that rank amongst all his achievements?
No, I reckon if you'd asked Pep 6-7 weeks ago, I bet he would have felt it was obviously more of a rebuilding job and just regroup and just get back to competing. But if you look at him now, he's got that spark back even in his eyes. You can see it. He's probably thinking, these players have surprised me a bit. And again, snuck under that radar. Goalkeeper was a great sign, and Haaland, obviously a goal machine. But the other players, forward and back to his best. I think Pep will be sitting there going, we're certainly back in the mix. Before 5-6 weeks ago, I bet you thought, nah, it's probably going to be too much this season, and we'll have a look at it in January or next summer, get more players in. But they're certainly back in the mix.
Be right up there for him, though, wouldn't it?
As an achievement, if they could win the league this year, absolutely. I think at the start of the season, again, the way you looked at where Man City was, you look how strong Arsenal were, how Liverpool did last season. I think if he could, obviously a long way to go yet, but if he got this league title this year and surprised everybody and finished out of Liverpool and obviously Arsenal, how powerful they're looking, it would have to be up there with some of the best achievements he's got.
So as we pause for 2 weeks, where are you now on your favourites on the
Oh,
turn?
we're doing this again.
Come on,
Can we talk?
Don't straddle the fence.
No. I never sit on the fence. I just like to have the prediction.
You said a draw today, didn't you?
But how is that sitting on the fence? That's a draw. That's a prediction, Roy.
But how wrong were you?
All right, you got it right today for once. What about the other times? Where am I at the moment?
We haven't got all day.
Live television speak.
At the moment, Arsenal. Just because they could have crumbled against Sunderland. Sunderland was and they still got a point out of there.
Yeah.
I think defensively, they're the best.
Daniel?
So that's why I'm going to say that.
Yeah, Arsenal are favourites right now. They're in the driver's seat, but I just feel hey, listen, no.
Talking about me? You can't move on, will you?
No, for real. Arsenal are favourites right now, but at the end of the day,
anyone could win.
It's anyone's, man.
Right.
It's not over yet.
Sticking with Arsenal, but obviously
sticking with Arsenal. You said Liverpool 3 weeks ago.
No, I didn't. I said Arsenal start of the season.
The gap, though, is down to 4 points.
An incredible achievement. Since he became a manager, look at that, 33 trophies for Pep Guardiola. Carlo Ancelotti is next on 17. And I mean, those numbers really do put it into perspective. You've all played against his teams. In fact, for you, it probably brings back some of your worst nightmares, but we'll come to that in a moment. You played against his Bayern team, actually, didn't you, for City? I mean, when you were opposing him, has he got that aura about him as an opposition player?
He probably didn't have it as much at Bayern. It's probably the one place he didn't have that aura. But yeah, you knew the way the team played and the players they had. It was always going to be a difficult game, but yeah, it's remarkable achievement. Just to manage that amount of games, never mind the success he's had. And we were talking off air then, he's aged pretty well considering he's done that many games. There's a lot of managers that don't look as fresh as he's looked, and it may be easier if you're winning, but not easy to win. So he deserves a lot of credit for just the level of intensity he's kept throughout his career, and obviously he's managed some of the greatest of players. And yeah, not to just tactically everyone can see, but to manage egos and personalities is equally as difficult.
Would you say that's the best football team you've ever played against? Those finals that you lost?
I'd say 2011 at Wembley was as good as I've come across, really. And unfortunately, we were in the wrong place at the wrong time. That was the right place, but wrong time. It was. It would have been nice to come out on top. But yeah, they just had the balance of and probably a little bit ahead of the time, really, in terms of football was evolving a lot bit more tactical. He was constantly, and has done since then, has constantly tinkered and changed and always pushed. I think he's been unpredictable in terms of coming up against these teams since then. You're never really sure what they're going to do. There's always a change and a tweak here and there, and I think that's him constantly. His brain's ticking, and he always wants to be, or he's always looking to be a little bit different and a little bit more with a new idea. And I think that's as challenging as anything when you're coming up against him, to try and kind of pre-plan or pre-predict what it's going to look like. And he's done that over the last few weeks as well, and he's constantly doing it, which at that stage, after so many games, is to still have new ideas. You think he'd have run out of them by now. Still got them, and he's still improving.
4 years at Barca, 3 at Bayern, but now 10 at City. I mean, has that surprised you, the longevity he's had at City and in the Premier League, given what he'd done at his previous 2 clubs?
Possibly. I mean, it's got to be surprising in this day and age. You know, anybody staying at a club for 10 years, that's got to be a surprise. One, obviously, you've got to be wanted, and you've got to be so successful that you're wanted and needed. But 2, there can be so many other things that happen off the pitch. You might just, you know, like he's done in previous jobs, you know, you might get tired of continually doing this. I mean, Jolien mentioned the longevity, that you know, how you can keep going after all this success. So from both sides, really, 10 years is quite a rarity nowadays. But it does help when you've got a very good team. It does help when when you're loved and you're adored and you're being successful and all the rest of it. So no surprise there. And everybody always says, don't they, how long is he going to keep going? I mean, I think he's got another year after this season still left on his contract. But I think certain things behind the scenes, cheeky Beheridjan leaving and things like that, I thought maybe he's going to come to an end pretty soon. But he seems to be as hungry as ever. And of course, this is probably his biggest challenge for a long, long time now, because Arsenal are very, very good as they've been for years. Liverpool are still a red-hot team, and there's a lot of competition. So, you know, when you've had success and then all of a sudden lots of teams are challenging you, I think you can even grit your teeth even more and think, no, I want to see this through and do it again, which is an incredible attitude to have.
And this period now where he's rebuilding, if you like, resetting, which he hasn't really done in his managerial career. 17 games City lost last year, way more than Pep's ever lost in any season. But the hunger's as strong as ever, isn't it, to do that? Yeah,
we'll all speak from experience. When you do achieve what they've achieved and then you fall short of that, coming back the next year, you're so determined to get back on track. And yeah, they've regenerised the squad. It needed it, to be fair. But it seems to be all filling into place. And like I said, I think the challenge of that, a new team, as in Arsenal, a friend, as in Mikel Arteta, bedding in new players, I think all them elements just will encourage and excite Pep. I think he's evolved the game. He sees it differently to most. And as I said, he's not getting bored. But the new challenges every year will keep him excited and determined to win.